The conference room buzzed with the chatter of wealthy investors and corporate giants, all dressed in tailored suits and polished shoes. At the far end of the room sat Madison Brooks, a 22-year-old intern with deep brown skin, bright eyes, and a notebook balanced on her lap. She wasn't supposed to be there. Interns didn't attend high-level international meetings. But her boss, Richard Hale, a 50-year-old self-made millionaire known for his arrogance, had waved her in that morning. "Sit in the back," he had said. "Take notes. Don't talk." Madison nodded, though a small fire burned in her chest. She had worked hard, too hard, to be treated like she was invisible. Today's meeting was important. A global partnership negotiation with companies from France, China, Brazil, and Germany. Millions of dollars were on the line. But halfway through the meeting, everything began falling apart. The French delegates misunderstood the contract wording. The German representatives grew frustrated with Richard's rushed explanations. The Chinese CEO shook his head, saying, "This deal lacks clarity." The Brazilian team whispered among themselves, completely confused. Richard slammed his hands on the table. "Can someone tell me why no one here speaks decent English?" he shouted. The room went silent. Faces tightened. A few delegates exchanged offended glances. Madison felt her stomach twist. This wasn't business. This was disrespect. One German delegate replied stiffly, "We speak English well enough. But your contract is unclear." Richard scoffed. "No, the problem is communication. And," he pointed toward Madison without even looking at her, "this is why I told the HR team not to bring in these diversity hires. They're useless in real situations." The entire room froze. Madison did too. Her chest tightened, but she refused to lower her eyes. She stood straighter, pressing her lips together, refusing to show the hurt burning inside her. One of the French delegates, a gentle-looking woman named Colette, frowned. "Why is she here, then?" Richard shrugged. "She's just an intern. Claims she speaks multiple languages." He laughed sharply. "Probably downloaded Duolingo once." The delegates looked shocked. Madison could feel their pity. That hurt more than Richard's words. Richard waved dismissively. "Anyway, let's just continue." Madison stepped forward. Her heartbeat pounded like thunder, but her voice came out steady. "Mr. Hale," she said softly, "may I speak?" Richard blinked. "You, absolutely not." But Colette raised her hand. "Let her speak, please." Richard rolled his eyes. "Fine. Make it quick." Madison took a breath. "I did say I speak multiple languages," she said. "6, actually." Richard snorted. "Here we go." Before he could finish, Madison turned to the French team and spoke in fluent, elegant French. "Je comprends vos préoccupations concernant les détails du contrat. Si vous le souhaitez, je peux vous aider à clarifier chaque section immédiatement." All three French delegates jolted upright, eyes wide. Then she turned to the German side and switched into perfect German, smooth and confident. "Der Vertrag kann einfacher formuliert werden. Wenn Sie möchten, kann ich die problematischen Stellen jetzt erklären." One German member's jaw dropped. Another pressed a hand to his chest, whispering, "Unglaublich." Madison then faced the Chinese delegation and began speaking in Mandarin, her tone respectful, precise, professional. "Ru guo a tong zhang yu nin bu ming bai de defang. Wo kei bang ninjia shi. Wo men kei chi shu gai rang suo yu ren do man yi de ban ben." The Chinese CEO nearly stood up from his chair. You speak Mandarin?" Madison gave a small nod. "Yes, sir." She then turned toward the Brazilian representatives, speaking in Portuguese with a warm, friendly tone. "Se for mais fácil, posso traduzir todo o contrato para vocês agora. Mesmo." One of them gasped. "Meu Deus." The entire room had gone silent. Dead silent. Richard Hale stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. You speak all of that?" he stammered. Madison wasn't done. She took a step forward. And then another. And then switched smoothly into Arabic, addressing a regional observer from the Middle East who hadn't spoken all morning. The man smiled slowly, nodding with deep respect. Richard's face turned pale, ghost white. Madison looked around the room, then spoke in English again. "I can translate the entire contract in real time," she said softly. "But only if everyone would like me to." Every delegate nodded eagerly, even the ones who had been silent before. Please, Colette said, help us. Madison walked to the front of the room, past Richard, who could only stare as she replaced him at the head of the table. She spent the next hour going line by line through the contract, translating, rephrasing, resolving each point of confusion with incredible clarity. Delegates who had been frustrated were now smiling. Those who were tense were now relaxed. And slowly, the impossible happened. The global deal moved forward. Smoothly, perfectly. By the final page, all 4 international companies agreed to sign. Applause filled the room. The German representative shook Madison's hand firmly. You saved this partnership. The Chinese CEO bowed slightly. You have our deepest respect. The Brazilian team hugged her. You closed the deal for everyone. Even Colette from France wiped a tear. You are extraordinary. Madison thanked them gently, but her voice trembled with emotion. Not because she was overwhelmed, but because she finally felt seen. Then the room quieted as Richard Hale approached her. His face was drained, humiliated, speechless. I didn't know, he muttered. Madison met his eyes, calm and unwavering. You didn't try to know, she replied. You judged me before you ever spoke to me. He swallowed hard. Madison, I'm sorry. She nodded politely, but forgiveness wasn't hers to hand out so easily. Especially not when he had mocked her in front of international partners. The Chinese CEO stepped forward. Mr. Hale, he said firmly, with all respect, this young woman is the reason we are proceeding with this deal. Colette added, she should be leading your international department. Richard's mouth fell open. Leading. She's an intern. Not anymore, the German representative said. If you don't promote her, we will hire her today. Richard panicked. Wait. Let's not be hasty. Madison took a slow breath. I appreciate the offers, she said gently. But I'd like to hear what my employer has to say. Richard straightened, forcing a smile. Madison Brooks. Effective immediately, I'd like to offer you the position of Director of Global Communications. Gasps filled the room. Madison's eyes widened. You're serious? Completely, he said. And, I should have recognized your value from the beginning. She paused, then nodded. I accept. The room erupted into cheers. For the first time in her life, Madison felt her voice, not just her languages, finally mattered. Moral of the story, never underestimate someone because of their age, background, or appearance. Hidden brilliance doesn't shine until it's given a chance, and sometimes, the quietest person in the room carries the power to change the world.